Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Melting Math. In this video we are going to discuss about heat, which is in the 6th standard Tamil Nadu new syllabus term 2 science book, and it's a unit 1. Okay, before involving to this unit, we have to know certain basic concepts of heat. Okay, heat is what? It's a matter, or it's a object. So heat is not a matter, because matter means what? Anything which occupies the space and has a weight is called the matter. Okay, heat does not occupy the space and heat does not have a weight. Okay, so heat is not a matter. Then heat is what? Heat is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy like electricity, light, sound. Okay, are we all clear about it? Okay, then get involved in this unit heat. We are familiar. We are very familiar to this heat. So because we are using the heat in our day-to-day life, like we use the heat for cooking our food, and in the case of fruit juice, we used to put some ice cubes to reduce the heat. So heat is everywhere in our surroundings. One more example is sunlight. Yeah, when you stand under the sunlight for few minutes, your body gets hot, so you feels hot. So heat is everywhere in your surroundings, and we are facing the heat and we are using the heat in our day-to-day life. Okay, I well clear about it. Okay, then let's see about the source of heat. First, sun. How sun is the source of heat? Because for a good example, when you stand under the sunlight for few minutes, okay, then after that, just keep your hands on your face or on your heads, you feels hot because of the heat only. Okay, sun doesn't gives only the light to us, it also gives the heat besides the light. Okay, are we all clear about it? That's why we cannot walk without the slippers in the afternoon on the road. Okay, that's the main reason. So sun is the source of light. Okay, are we all clear about it? Next one is the combustion. Combustion is nothing but the burning. Okay, this burning will gives us the heat energy. Okay, this when the burning starts, it generates the heat energy. Okay, I will give one best example. In our home, we are using the gas stove for cooking purpose. In that, we have to burn that gas stove to heat the food. Okay, during that burning only generates the heat energy to the vessels. Okay, the heat energy in the vessels only helps the food or the water to boil. Okay, to boil. Okay, that's the main reason. So wherever the burning is there, it always generates the heat energy. Okay, let's see some sources of burning. In our home, we use gas as a source of burning. In some other places, they used wood, kerosene, coal, charcoal, and petrol and oil for a source of burning. Okay, that's it. Just remember, whenever the burning is there, there will be the heat energy. Okay, that's generate the heat energy. Next, so combustion is the source of heat. Next one is the friction is a source of heat. How friction is a source of heat? I will give one best example. In our ancient times, we don't have the matchbox to fire. In the time, they used two stones. They used to rub two stones. By rubbing the two stones, one little spark of fire will come. Okay, in that fire only helps our ancient people to burn the wood. Okay, that's rubbing process is called the friction. Okay, wherever the friction is there, there will be heat energy will generate. Okay, that's it. I will give one more familiar example. Just rub your hands little faster, then immediately keep your hands on your face or on your body, it feels hot because of the heat energy only. So whenever the friction is there, there should be a heat energy. That friction will generate the heat energy. Okay, are we all clear about it? So friction is the source of heat. Okay, next, electricity. Electricity is the source of it. How electricity is the source of it? When electric current flows through a conductor, it produces the heat energy. Okay, what is the conductor here? The water, metal, some steels, copper. These are all the conductors. Conductors means what? Any object or anything which conducts the electricity is called the conductor. So when electric current flows through these conductors, it produces the heat energy. For example, we can see we have a water heater in our home. So when the electric current pass through this water heater, some metal or some conductor will be there inside this water heater that helps the water to boil for bathing. Okay, that's the main reason here. So water heater is the best example of electric current flows through a conductor. It produces the heat. That's why we get the boiled water for bathing. Next is the iron box. In iron box also, inside the iron box, some conductor will be there. When the current passes through that conductor, it produces the heat. That heat only helps us to iron the shirt to form a straight manner or cloths. Okay, next example is the electric kettle. Electric kettle is nothing but in our home we use the electric kettle to boil the drinking water. In that electric kettle also some conductor will be there inside that electric kettle. When the electric current flows through that conductor, it produces the heat energy. That heat energy only helps the water to boil. Okay, that's it. So electricity will generate the heat energy. Okay, I will clear about it. So electricity is the source of heat. Okay, I will clear about it. Next we are going to see about heat. Heat, what is heat? Heat is a energy that rises the temperature of a thing by causing the molecules in that thing to move faster. Okay, let's see this is the definition of heat. What they gave here, heat is an energy. We know heat is an energy that rises the temperature of a thing. That rises the temperature of a thing means what? That increases the temperature of the object. How it increases the temperature of the object? By causing the molecules in that object to move faster. Okay, are we all clear about it? We already studied molecules. Any object which is made up of atoms and the molecules. Molecule is nothing but the group of atoms is called the molecules. Okay, I will give one best example. When we heat the some objects, let's take one plastic bucket. Okay, now we are heating the plastic bucket. What will happen to the plastic bucket? If we give the heat energy under the plastic bucket, what will happen to that plastic bucket? After few minutes, the plastic bucket gets to melt. How it melts? Because of the molecules only. Okay, when we give the heat energy to that bucket, the molecules in that bucket in that object will move faster or will vibrate faster inside that object. So inside that bucket it moves faster, it vibrates faster inside that object. So that's only keeps the object to melt faster. Okay, this is the main reason. Okay, whenever the heat reaches to the any object, the molecules in that object will vibrate and move. That's why the object gets heat. Okay, are we all clear about it? Any object which gets heat means that's due to the moving and the vibrating of that object's molecules only. Okay, are we all clear about it? The SI unit of heat is joule. Okay, we already discussed the SI unit in previous term, first unit measurement. SI unit is nothing but the standard unit. The standard unit of heat is joule. The unit calorie is also used for it. Okay, Next we are going to see about hot and cold object. In our day-to-day life we are seeing the most of the object, but we don't know how many of them are cold, how many of them are in cold and how many of them are in hot. We don't know exactly, but most of the time we used our hand to find, we used our hand or we used our finger to find whether the object is in cold or in hot. Okay, for a good example, before drinking the coffee we used to dip our finger to find whether it's in hot or cold, or whether it's capable of drinking or not. So most of the time we used our hand to identify the temperature. Okay, we identify the hot and the coldness of the object. So does our hand or a finger will gives us a accurate reading? Let's see about with this activity, with the help of this activity. That's activity 1. How our hands helps us to find the heat or a cold by the help of this activity. Let's see about this activity. Okay, first take the 3 bowls. Just pour cold water in first bowl and lukewarm water in second bowl and hot water in third bowl. Okay, here lukewarm is nothing but the water which is in the middle state of this cold and hot. So the middle state, that's the state between the cold and hot, is called the warm. So warm means it's capable of drinking. It's like that, it's capable of drinking. It's a little hot, it's not more hot, it's little hot. That's why we mention here warm. Lukewarm is nothing but the water which is capable of drinking, which is capable of use, which is capable of bath, like that. Okay, so that's called the lukewarm water. Okay, here we have cold water in first jar and lukewarm water in second jar and hot water in third jar. Okay, just dip your right hand in cold water, that's the first jar. Then dip your left hand in the third jar, that's the jar containing the hot water. Okay, just dip your right hand to the cold water and left hand to the hot water simultaneously. Okay, just keep your hands for few minutes inside that both waters. Then take your both hands and shake lightly. Then suddenly keep your both right and left hands to the lukewarm water. So how does you feel? Actually, your right hand feels hot and your left hand feels cold. Okay, let's see how it's happened. Okay, when we keep your hand in the cold water, the molecules in that cold water will absorb your hand molecules, so your hand will turns to cold. In the same time, when you keep the same right hand in the lukewarm water, the water molecules in the lukewarm water will transfer to your hand. So that's why your right hand feels hot. In the same way, when you keep your right hand in the hot vessel, the molecules in your hand vibrate faster and move faster, so your molecules in your hand gets hot. When you keep that same hand in the lukewarm water, the molecules in your hand will transfer to the lukewarm water and makes your hand too cold. Because the molecules in your hand transfer to the lukewarm water means what will happen? Your hand will automatically lose the heat energy, then it turns to cold. Okay, are you all clear about it? That's it. So your right hand turns hot and your left hand turns cold because of the moving of vibration of molecules only. Okay, so from this we are clear about it. So our hand does not gives us the accurate reading. Then what will gives us the accurate reading of cold and hotness? Thermometer is the correct answer. Thermometer is a tool used most of us to find the correct temperature of hotness and the coldness. Okay, let's see about the temperature. Temperature is nothing but the measurement of hotness or the coldness of the object is called the temperature. Okay, before involving to the temperature, we have to know one basic thing. Yeah, just remember, when the temperature increases, it's getting hot. When the temperature decreases, it's getting cold. Okay, I will just remember this because it's very important. Most of them are confusing in this area only. Yeah, when the temperature increases, it's getting hot. When the temperature decreases, it's getting cold. Okay, that's it. Let's see the definition. I already told. The measurement of warmness or coldness of a substance is known as temperature. So SI unit of temperature is what? Standard unit is there. Standard unit of temperature is Kelvin. Celsius and Fahrenheit are the other units used here, and Celsius is nothing but the centigrade. Okay, temperature determines the direction of flow of heat when two bodies are placed in contact. Okay, let's see about this with the help of the activity 2. Let's see about the activity 2. The temperature of boiling water. Okay, just just take one vessel and fill the normal tap water. Just remember, our normal tap water temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. That's according to our room temperature. Okay, just keep the that vessel filled with normal water on the gas stove like this. You have to immerse one thermometer in the center of the vessel containing the water. So make sure the temperature should not touch any part of the vessel. When it touches any part means what will happen? It breaks. The thermometer will breaks. Okay, just tie the thermometer right over the vessel with the help of a stick or some scale. Okay, that's it. So finally we got the connection like this. Okay, here we have a stove, vessel filled with normal water, and we also immersed thermometer in the right middle of that vessel containing water. Then we tied the thermometer in the upster with the help of a scale or some wood objects. Okay, then turn on the stove. Note the temperature in the thermometer. Note how what will happen, how it increases the temperature in the thermometer. Just observe it. I already told our normal water temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Then how will increase? It increase to 30, 32, 36. It's like that. It increase further in the 30, 32. Up to which level it increase? Okay, that's they are asking here. Questions is here. What is the temperature of water when it's boiling? What is the temperature of water when it's boiling? You can observe with this activity also. That's the 100 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature of water when it's boiling. Okay, then does the temperature of the boiling water rise further after that? After that 100 degrees Celsius, it will rise further or not? That's the question here. It will not rise further. Yeah, 100 degrees Celsius is the final temperature. When the boiling point, at the boiling point temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. So the temperature stops at 100 degrees Celsius. So we can't calculate more apart from that 100 degrees Celsius. So the temperature stops at 100 degrees Celsius. Then what happened to the heat energy? Heat energy not stop. Yeah, until we turn off that stove, the heat energy will continuously flow to the vessel. Okay, heat energy will not stop. Our temperature only stops at the point of 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, in which the point the temperature and the boiling point are in the same state is called the boiling point of water. Okay, are we all clear about it? Just remember, ordinary water temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Temperature of water when it's boiling is called 100 degrees Celsius. Further 100 degrees Celsius temperature will not increase, but heat will increase continuously until when we turn off the stove. Okay, until we off that stove, heat energy will always generate to the vessel, and from that vessel the water will boil. How the water is boiling here? Because of the molecules inside the water. Yeah, we already discussed. When the heat energy transferred to the vessel, in that vessel water is there. The water that water having certain molecules, so that heat energy helps the water molecules to vibrate faster, to move faster. That only helps the water to boil. Okay, I'm well clear about it. Molecule is the main reason to boil the water. Okay, in everything molecule is there. Are we all clear about it? Next, guess and write. Check your assumption with the help of thermometer. Approximate temperature of tea when you drink. What is approximate temperature of a tea when you are drinking? It's nearly approximately 65 degrees Celsius. Yeah, we can eat the tea with 65 degrees Celsius because it when we heat in 65 degrees Celsius means it will not affect our tongue, will not damage our throat or our mouth. Okay, so 65 degrees Celsius is approximately correct. Next, approximate temperature of cool lemon juice when you drink. It's 20 degrees Celsius. Yeah, 20 degrees Celsius is enough to drink cool lemon juice. Because when we drink the less degree Celsius, like 15, 10 means it will damage our teeth. Okay, so 20 degrees Celsius it's capable of drinking. Okay, that's it. I already mentioned boiling point. The temperature of water boiling point is higher is 100 degrees Celsius, and the freezing point is 0 degrees Celsius. Yeah, in freezer, in refrigerator, in freezers we have ice cubes. The ice cubes temperature is normally the 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, just remember 0 degrees Celsius is the ice cube and 100 degrees Celsius is the high boiling point. Okay, boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Next, here they ask one questions to us. Is Neela correct? What is the correct? Yes, see the beaker A containing 80 degrees Celsius of water and beaker B containing 80 degrees Celsius of water. Then pour the water of A and B to an empty beaker C. Now what is the temperature of the water in the beaker C? Neela says it's be 160 degrees Celsius. How Neela says it's 160 degrees Celsius? Neela add these two degrees Celsius, 80 plus 80, 160 degrees Celsius. It's correct or not? That's the question. In my point of view, it's wrong because just see in jar the vessel A and the vessel B containing the same temperature, that's 80 degrees Celsius. When we pour these two vessels containing water in the another vessel, empty vessel, what will happen? It remains the same. Yeah, the temperature will not change. The temperature should be 80 degrees Celsius only because these two A and B vessels having the containing the water of 80 degrees Celsius. When we pour these two vessels containing water to the another empty vessel means the temperature will not change, the temperature remains the same. So 80 degrees Celsius is the correct answer. Okay, next is the heat and temperature. I already told heat and temperature not a common thing. Heat and temperature are different. Yeah, heat and temperature are not the same thing. They in fact mean the two different things. I already told in that previous activity also, we noticed at certain level temperature will stop at 100 degrees Celsius, but heat energy will continuously flows to the vessel, flows to the water until we turn off the burner. Okay, so that's the difference between heat and the temperature. So these two things are not same, these two are different, and these two having the different meaning also. Let's see about it. Temperature is related to how fast the atoms or molecules move or vibrate with the substance. I already told the temperature is always depend on the number of molecules. Number of molecules move faster, number of molecules vibrate faster. So temperature is always depend on the speed of the molecules and atoms. Okay, but in case of heat not only depends on the temperature of the substance, but also depends on how many molecules are there in that object. Yeah, how many molecules. So temperature only depends on speed of the atoms and molecule. Here heat energy depends on the number of molecules in that object. Okay, I will clear about it. That's the difference. Next, see here, temperature measure the average kinetic energy of molecules. Heat measure the total kinetic energy of molecules in that substance. So what is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is the speed of the molecules. Speed, kinetic energy is nothing but speed. Here they mention the kinetic energy is the speed of the molecule. So average kinetic energy of molecules means what? Temperatures having the both in condition of cold and hot. So the average means between the two, or the final state of the two cold and hotness of the temperature is called the average kinetic energy. But in case of hot, we don't compare, we don't need to measure the coldness. Here only the heat is the major thing. So heat measures the total kinetic energy of the molecules in the substance. Okay, are we all clear about it? Let's briefly discuss about this with the help of this activity 3. Okay, just see. Just take the two pans. One pan is a capacity of 1 liter water, and another pan is a capacity of having 5 liter water. Just fill the 1 liter water in small pan, and fill the 5 liter water in large pan. Then keep both the pans on the same stove. Turn on the burner. Just watch which pan water starts to boil first, or which pan water starts to boil earlier. Okay, let's see what happen. So which pan water starts to boil earlier, 1 liter water containing pan or 5 liter water containing pan? Definitely the 1 liter water containing pan only starts the first to boil. How it starts first? Because the number of molecules in that 1 liter water is less. So that's the main thing. When the heat energy pass through that water, 1 liter water, and pass through the vessels, it's easy to heat the low number of molecules to fast. Okay, that's the main reason. So what about that 5 liter of water? In that 5 liter of water containing the more number of molecules when compared to 1 liter of water, so it takes more time to boil. So that's the main reason. We know boiling point of water is what? 100 degrees Celsius. Just use the thermometer to find whether these two pans are reach 100 degrees Celsius or not. Definitely it will reach 100 degrees Celsius. These both the pans reach 100 degrees Celsius at certain time. Yeah, at that time, after the time, just keep the liquid water. We already discussed liquid water is the state of state between the hot and cold. Okay, it's capable of drinking and all, I already told. So just keep the liquid water in that one small vessels, like here you can see here. So in the both the pan, just immerse a small vessel containing the liquid water. So just observe with the help of thermometer which liquid water gets hot faster in 1 liter in 1 liter pan or a 5 liter pan? Just observe it. The answer is in which can water shows a quick rise in temperature. That's lukewarm water. Okay, just that's lukewarm water. So can in 1 liter boiled water or can in 5 liter boiled water? So the lukewarm water gets hot in which pan? The answer is the 5 liter pan. How 5 liter pan is the correct answer? Because I already, as I said, the number of molecules in the 5 liter pan is large when compared to 1 liter pan. So the 5 liter pan containing water only having the more number of heat energy, because that's only having the more number of molecules. So that more number of heat energy helps the lukewarm water containing vessels inside the pan to boil faster. So 5 liter can is the correct answer. Are we all clear about it? The heating and the heat energy is always depend upon the number of molecules and the quantity of molecules. Okay, that's it. Next, here some questions are there. Just observe this picture. Which has more heat energy in each pair? Put tick for the correct one. Okay, here we have the two picture. A cup of boiling water, a spoon of boiling water. Which one has more heat energy? Which one has more heat energy? I already told heat energy only depends on the number of molecules. So here we can identify easily cup of boiling water containing the more number of molecules when compared to the spoon. Yeah, spoons having the little amount of water, so it's having the less number of molecules. So cup of boiling water is the correct answer, because this is having the more number of molecules. Next, see the another picture. In these two picture, which one is having the more heat energy? In first bowl it's 60 degrees Celsius, that's 1 liter. In second bowl it's same quantity, that's 1 liter, and it's a 90 degrees Celsius. Which is having the high more heat energy? So second one, 90 degrees Celsius of 1 liter having the more heat energy, because the Celsius is more. I already told whenever the temperature increases, it's getting hot. Okay, so in that both the vessel 60 degree and 90 degree having the same number of molecules, but the heat energy is high in the second bowl only. I already told heat energy does not stop, it always increase. So temperature only stops at certain level, that's 100 degrees Celsius. I already told it. Okay, next, see here. Pavitra is having a tea while watching the pond near her house. Surely tea is in high temperature than the water in the pond. Now a question is arising in Pavitra's mind. Which one has more heat energy? A cup of tea or water in the pond? Which is having the more heat energy? That's the question from the Pavitra. So let's find out the answer of this question. We already know when the small quantity of water is there, means that's containing the small quantity of molecules, small quantity of heat, small quantity of molecules. Okay, just even though the temperature of tea is high, but the number of molecules in the tea is very low when compared to pond water. Yeah, pond water is widely there, you can see in this picture. So the more quantity of water will gives us the more number of molecules. So definitely pond water only having the more heat energy, because as I said, because the number of molecules in the cup of tea is less and the number of molecules in the pond water is more. That's the main reason. I already told heat energy is always depend on the number of molecules. So pond water only has the more heat energy. Okay, are we all clear about it? That's the answer here. Okay, next we are going to see about the flow of heat. How the heat flows? Heat flows from higher temperature to the lower temperature, like the waterfalls. Yeah, you can see the waterfalls, it always flows from upper region to the lower region. Similarly, heat also flows from higher temperature to the lower temperature. I will give one example, just assume it. Take one metal rod, heat the metal rod from the one end of the temperature. Definitely the temperature will automatically move to the another end of the metal rod. So that's why I said heat will transfer from higher temperature to lower temperature. In your book they gave one example, just see here. Take one object which is A, take two objects, that's A and B. Object A is at higher temperature, object B is at the lower temperature. Just to make these two objects in contact, like this picture, what will happen? I already told, when we made a contact in this object A and B, what will happen? I already told, higher temperature will goes to the lower temperature, so heat will transfer from higher temperature to the lower temperature. So the same thing will happen here. Just see, the higher temperature will transfer to the lower temperature object B, then it remains the same like this. When we uh, when we keep the object, two objects in contact, it's called the thermal contact. Then after that the higher temperature transfer to the lower temperature and makes both the object in the stable and the equal temperature. That's temperature, that's form of object is called the thermal equilibrium. Okay, are we all clear about it? When we make a contact of a two object, the object having the higher temperature will always flows to the object having the lower temperature. Then it makes the stable temperature or the equal temperature. When we made a contact is called thermal contact. When these two objects reaches the same temperature or equal temperature, it's called the thermal equilibrium. Are we all clear about it? Okay. Next, see some examples based on this heat transform temperature transformation. Okay, let's see. You are holding a hot cup of coffee. Would the heat energy transfer from your body to the coffee or the coffee to your body? Okay, we already discussed what is a approximate temperature of drinking coffee. We already discussed that's a 65 degrees Celsius. Before we are discussing it, we have to know about our normal body temperature. Yes, our normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, but here the coffee temperature is approximately 65 degrees Celsius. So what will happen here? Coffee is 65 degrees Celsius, our hand, our body is 37 degrees Celsius. We already discussed heat will transfer from higher temperature to lower temperature, so definitely heat will transfer from coffee to our hand, because coffee is having the more temperature than our hand, so heat will transfer from coffee to our hand. So which is the option here? Option B is the correct answer, the coffee to your body. That's the correct answer, because of heat transfer from higher temperature to lower temperature. Okay, are we all clear about it? Next, see the second one. You are standing outside on a summer day. It's 40 degrees Celsius. Where outside 40 degrees Celsius, I already told our body is normal temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So it's more about it's more than our body temperature. So which one is the correct answer? Heat energy transfer from your body to air particles or the air particles to your body. So which is the correct one? Here our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, but the outer side air particle temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. So 40 degrees Celsius is more. So the heat always transfer from the air particles to our body, because air particles are having the more temperature than our body temperature. Okay, are we all clear about it? Next, see the third one. You are standing outside on a winter day. It's 23 degrees Celsius. Just remember, our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, but outer air particle temperature is 23 degrees Celsius, which is more higher temperature. Our body temperature only the higher temperature. So heat transfer from where to where? Our body to the air particles only, because our body only having high temperature here. Okay, so option, which one is the correct option? Option A is the correct answer. Your body to the air particles, because our body having a higher temperature, that's 37 degrees Celsius. Air particles having 23 degrees Celsius. It's less than our body temperature. Okay, we are clear about it. So this is the way how the temperature transfer from one body to another body. Okay, that's it. Next, see about expansion in solid. Expansion in solid is nothing but when we give the heat energy to the solid, it expands. And similarly, when we cool that same object, means it contract. So let's see about it. Just assume your mummy is asked you to open the jar cap. So you are trying to open that jar cap. It's difficult to open that jar cap. It's hard. Then your mummy told to you to pour some hot water in the cap of the jar. So after pouring the hot water in the cap of jar, it's easy to remove the cap. How it's possible? Because of the expansion of solid only. Yeah, when we give the heat energy to the solid, the molecules in that solid will expand. Okay, that's only helps you to open the jar, tight jar, in the easy manner. Okay, this is the only reason how it opens very easily. Okay, so that's the main thing. So whenever the object shape will change, or whenever the object expand or contract, it always depend on the it always related to the temperature change only. Okay, so the expansion of a substance on heating, that process is called the thermal expansion. Okay, as I said, we are eating one object. That time that object molecules will expand, that object will expand. That process of expansion is called the thermal expansion of a object, or thermal expansion of a substance. Okay, we are clear about it. In that expansion, there are two form of expansion is there. Before that, we are briefly discuss about this term expansion with the help of this activity 4. Okay, just see, just take one just take a tin can and nail and hammer. Okay, just make a hole at the top of the tin can with the help of nail and hammer. Then remove that nail. After again insert the nail with the help of hammer in that same hole, to make sure the hole is large enough for the nail to go to insert and remove in the easy manner. Okay, after that, just hold the nail with the help of a cutting blade or the scissor, then heat the tip of the nail on the stove. Then after, just insert that hot nail into the same hole. Just observe what will happen. Does the nail goes in that same hole in easy manner, or it's hard to insert the nail in that same hole? Just observe. The answer is it's hard to insert the nail in that same hole, because when we heat that nail, the molecules in that nail will expand. So the object, that's the nail, will expand. When we are heating the nail, it expands. So that's why we cannot insert the same nail in that same hole. So we can easily note when we heat the object, it expands. So this is the best activity to know about the expansion. Okay, next is the linear and cubical expansion. I already told there is a two form of expansion is there. Okay, the expansion, the object which expand in length means it's called linear expansion. The object which expand in volume means it's called cubical expansion. Okay, let's see briefly about this linear and cubical expansion with the help of activity 5. Okay, first see about linear expansion. For this activity, just take a two wooden box and place these two wooden box like this in the parallel form. Then take one cycle spoke and keep the cycle spoke over the top of these two wooden box. Then place the stone at the one end of the spoke right over the wooden box like this. So we kept the stone for the purpose of holding the spoke. Okay, so on the other side of the wooden box, just keep one coin. That's a 1 rupee coin or 2 rupee coin. Okay, then we have to make the wire connection. Just to make the connection of wire from one end of the spoke to the one end of battery, then make the wire connection of another end of battery to one end of bulb, then make the wire connection of another end of bulb to the coin. Just to wrap the wire around the coin. Okay, so just see here, when these all the things are correct means that the light will glow up, because just see here all the things are in the connected manner. But when we see this picture, the coin and the spoke are not in contact. There is a space between the coin and the spoke. If there is a space means what will happen? Bulb does not glow. Okay, so the contact is main thing. So here the contact is not there, it's missing. But we have to glow the bulb in this same manner. Yeah, the space is there, between the coin and the spoke, so it does not glow. But in the same situation, we have to glow the bulb without connecting the spoke and the coin. It happen only we heat the spoke. Okay, just heat the spoke with the help of candle, and see the spoke. By heating the spoke will expand and it touches the coin automatically. When it touches means what will happen? The full circuit is in the connector manner, then the bulb will glows automatically. So the spoke expands and touches the coin with the help of heat energy. So when we turn off the candle, what will happen? The heat energy reduced from the spoke, and the spoke will comes to the normal situation. What is the normal situation? In the normal, the coin and the spoke are in non-contact condition, so the spoke remains returns to its normal state. Okay, here the spoke expands in linear form. That's why this is the activity for the linear expansion. Okay, here we have some questions. Let's answer this question. Does the bulb light up? If it does not, what could be the reason? So the bulb is not light up because the coin and the spoke are not in contact, so the circuit is incomplete. I already told in the picture the coin and the spoke are in non-contact form. When we heat only it contact. Okay, so next see the second question. Did the bulb light up after spoke was heated for some time? Yes, the bulb is light up because the spoke is heated, then the circuit is completed. Okay, we already discussed it. Okay, next is another question. If it did, then explain how the spoke touches the coin after it was heated. So the answer is here. When the spoke is heated, it will be expanded. Here the linear expansion takes place, so it touches the coin automatically because of that heat energy. Okay, it's also I already said. Okay, Next, see the another question. Why does the bulb go off sometime after the candle is taken away from the spoke? So after removing the candle, the spoke does not get the heat. Then the spoke is returned to its original state. So it does not touch the coin again, and the bulb turns off. Okay, that's the answer. Next, see the another final question. What happened to the length of the spoke when it's heated or cooled? So the length of the spoke is expanded when the spoke is heated, and it contract when the spoke is cooled. Okay, that's the main thing here. That's a linear expansion. Okay, next, see about the cubical expansion. Just see here, take a metal ring and metal ball of such size. Such size is nothing but the similar size. So the metal ball and the metal ring should be in the same size. So it's easy to go inside the ring. Okay, that's they are mentioning here, such size. Just pass through the ring. Here we have the question. Eat the ball and check whether it passed through the ring. Just see this picture. When we heat the ball, it goes through the metal ring or not. So the answer is it's not passed through the metal ring, because when we heat the metal ball means what will happen? It expands. So the molecules in the a metal ball will expand, so that's why ball could not insert into the metal ring. Okay, next here another question. Now let the ball cool down and check whether it passed through the ring. Yeah, when we cool that ball means definitely it passed through the ring. We can see it in this image. Okay, so solids expand due to heat and comes back to the original state if heat is removed. I already told. Okay, solid only expand the heat when it's come to cold means it's always return to its normal state. Okay, next, see about the uses of thermal expansion. So let's see some of the uses of thermal expansion. I already told thermal expansion is nothing but when we use the heat to the object, it expand. That's called the thermal expansion. Okay, let's see the use of thermal expansion. Fitting the iron rim on the wooden wheel. By using the thermal expansion only, we are able to fitting the iron rim on the wooden wheel. We are mostly seen the wooden wheel in the bullock cart. Okay, in that wheel they fixed one iron ring around the wooden wheel. Let's see how they fixed it. So and first we have to heat that iron rim. After eating that iron rim, we have to place that iron rim in the around the wooden wheel. When we fix that hot iron ring around the wooden wheel, we have to pour the cold water in that iron ring. Then the iron ring will contract and it grips the wooden wheel very strongly. Okay, when we heat the iron ring means it expands. Then we have to cool that iron ring to contract to grip the wooden wheel very strongly. Okay, this is how we use the thermal expansion to fit the iron ring rim in that wooden wheel. Okay, next, see the another use of thermal expansion, that's a riveting. Rivets are used to join two steel plates together. Yeah, in our classroom also steel benches are there. In that steel benches they use the rivet to join the edges of the steel benches. Okay, by joining that edges first, before we have to heat this rivet for expanding purpose. If we heat the rivet means what will happen? This rivet will expand. At the time we have to keep this rivet in that edge, in that joining place of the metal sheet. When we keep that metal sheet, after that we have to pour the cold water. When it turns cold means what will happen? It contract and grip the edges and the joining parts very strongly. So that's how we are using the riveting in the process of thermal expansion. Okay, Next, see some thermal expansion examples. Give the reason of following. Gaps are left in between rails while laying a railway track. So, in which purpose they gave a gap in that railway tracks? Okay, let's see the answer. In summer days the temperature rises and rails expand. Yes, in summer days, we know summer days is in high temperature, so this high temperature will expand the railway tracks. That's why they gave a little space in between the railway tracks. Okay, so in order to allow expansion at the joint of the rail, a small gap is left in between the rails while laying a railway track. Okay, in such a gap is not, if suppose the gap is not, means what will happen? The railway track will broke and it will cause damage to train also. Okay, that's the main reason why they gave a little gap in that railway track. So in the summer time it will expand and the winter time it will contract. So that's why they gave a space in that railway track. So next, see the second one. Gaps are left in between two joints of a concrete bridge. Why they left a gap in between the concrete bridges? So because it's also due to the same similar to railway track only. Yeah, the gaps in the concrete bridges are known as expansion joints. Yeah, in the summer times, in the summer times the gap will expand, and the winter time the gap will contract. So the expansion joints are basically gaps in the bridge that allows the bridge to expand in summer days and contract in winter days. If these gaps are not in the bridge, means the bridge will fall. Like it's similar to railway track only. Okay, I think I hope you all understood more about the expansion and contraction. It always depend on the higher temperature and the lower temperature. Okay, so next we are going to see about cracking of thick glass tumbler. Why the thick glass tumblers are cracked when we pour the hot water? Let's see about it. Glass is a poor conductor of heat. Glass is a poor conductor of heat. When hot liquid is poured into the tumbler, that's a glass tumbler, the inner surface of the glass tumbler becomes hot and expands, while the outer surface remains at the room temperature and does not expand. Just clear, inner surface will expand and the outer surface of the glass tumbler will not expand. That's the only reason why the glass tumbler cracks. Okay, we are clear about it. When we pour the hot water into the glass tumbler, the inner part of the glass tumbler will expand and the outer part does not expand. It keeps on the room temperature. That's why the glass tumbler cracks. Okay, that's the main reason. Next, see about electric wires. So electric wire between the electric post contract on cold days and expand in summers. To solve this problem only, we leave a wire slack so that they are free to change length. Yeah, in our road sides we can see the electric post. In that post we can observe in summer days, the postal wires are in very loose manner. Yeah, because of expand of the wire only. In the summer times it seems to be in a very loose form, but in the winter days the same wire are in the form of stretched form in the straight manner because of a contraction of the wire only. That's why by tying that wire itself, they used to tie the wires in a loose form only because of convenient temperature. Yeah, like summer and winter are there. In summer temperature the wire will expand, and the winter temperature wire will contract. So they usually tie the wire in the loose form to capable of being in all the temperature, suitable temperatures. Okay, that's it. Next we have one question. The photographs below show an expansion joint at the end of the bridge in the winter and in summer. Which season is shown in each picture? Explain how do you know? Okay, so we have to explain the picture, how it expands and how it forms. Okay, let's explain it. Bridges are made of concrete and steel. These components expand with higher temperature during summer, and the gap is minimized in between the joints. So summer season is shown in the picture B. So picture B is a summer days. Next, see, during the winter the components contract due to lower temperature. Therefore the gap is at maximum in between the joints. So winter season is shown in the picture A. Okay, we are clear about it. It's always it depends on the extraction and contraction. Okay, that's it. Next, they are asking some questions which is related to the numerical ways. Let's see about it. I put a kettle containing 1 liter of cold water on the gas stove, and it takes 5 minutes to reach the boiling point. Okay, my friend puts on a small electric kettle containing half liter of cold water, and it takes 5 minutes to get up to boil point. So which gives more heat in 5 minutes? So here one of them is heating the 1 liter of water, and it reaches its boiling point, that's 100 degrees Celsius, in 5 minutes with the help of gas stove. And another person heating the half liter of water in that electric kettle, and it takes to reach its boiling point, that's 100 degrees Celsius, in 5 minutes. Here the question for us is which gas stove or the electric kettle gives more heat in 5 minutes. So which gives more heat? Definitely the gas stove, the gas supply only gives us the more heat, because it's twice, it's 2 times more when compared to the electric kettle. Okay, have you all clear about it? So another question is, can you say how much times? So that's I said it's 2 times. It's 2 times more, because just see, gas stove heated 1 liter water in 5 minutes, but the electric stove heated half liter water in 5 minutes. So which is in high power? Gas stove is in the high power. So 1 liter of cold gas stove only gives the more heat energy. So that's the answer here. Next, second question, 1 calorie heat energy is needed to rise the temperature of the water from 30 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius. Just see here, only 1 calorie heat is needed to rise the temperature of 30 to 31. It's increasing only 1 degree Celsius. So 1 calorie needed for increasing the 1 degree Celsius means, then how much heat energy is needed to rise the temperature of water from 30 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius? As I said before, 1 calorie is needed to increase 1 degree Celsius means, definitely 5 calorie only needs to increase 5 degrees Celsius. So because here we need to increase 5 degrees Celsius, because it's 30 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. So 5 calorie is the correct answer. Okay, that's it. Now we discussed more about the heat and the molecules of heat and the expansion and the contraction of heat, like so many things we discussed in this unit. Okay, that's it. In our upcoming videos we can see the book bag, that's the evaluation question with answers of this heat. Okay, that's it. Subscribe to our channel Melting Math and don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you.